Hi Sparkles, welcome to my shop. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Cheryl Burke and her time on Dance Moms and basically her effect and her experience with the children. And she recently just posted a video about her time on Dance Moms and replacing Abby Lee Miller. And there were a couple red flags in that video for me, so I wanted to discuss those as well in this video. So if you're interested in all of that, make sure to give this video a great big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and turn on all the post notifications if you're brand new here, and let's hop right into today's content. So first off, if you're not familiar with Cheryl Burke, she is a legend in the dance community. She has been a choreographer on Dancing with the Stars for so many years. She has most recently, of course, worked with the Dance Moms Season 7 team, and she is a self-proclaimed daughter of a dance mom herself. Back in Season 7 of Dance Moms, Abby basically walked off the set and refused to return to the show, so they gave Cheryl Burke a call after recently interviewing her and said, hey, do you want to come be the new coach for the show and replace Abby, like literally right now? And she was like, wait, what? Oh, okay, be right there. Let's talk about what Cheryl just walked into. So Cheryl has literally just walked into a hot mess that was left behind by Abby Lee Miller. She's been coaching these children, but she's kind of been also typecasting them and putting them in a box for their entire lives. And Cheryl says that she's seen the insecurity and the effect that that's had on the children in this video that Lifetime posted, and in the episode of Dance Moms, we saw this as well.
I feel your insecurity. So you have to believe in yourself, because I believe in you.
Now, I think that this is great for Cheryl as a coach. I think that this is awesome for her to point out. I think that she is doing a great job for the most part dealing with this situation.
You are so talented. You really are. I think Kendall also maybe suffers from that as well. I know she suffers from it, but she has to break down that wall.
What I do have a massive problem with is the moms here. And we can't just not talk about that.
And you've got to show her as her mom that it's okay to be vulnerable, because that's the only way that she's going to become a better dancer.
It hurts me, sorry, to hear you say how insecure my child is.
What? Like these moms, like Jill crying, and then Kira crying, and Christy crying, like, oh, boo-hoo. Literally boo-hoo. Like,
I'm telling you how, I'm insecure still.
It feels like we failed as moms.
How could I let that happen?
That's what you're feeling.
But you haven't failed, because you're gonna help her and put the pieces back together.
It hurts me so much to hear you say that my daughter is insecure. Like, it's as if we just let this happen. Girl, are you blind? Like, that's the entire hook of the show. Every single person in the audience, every single grown adult has been watching this show with all of these underdog children being like, why did these parents never pull them out of this toxic, poisonous environment? How come these kids have to endure all of this crap and nobody ever sticks up for them? You saw this from the very beginning, so don't play the victim. The only victims in this situation were all of the children. You kept bringing them back there.
I do feel insecure a lot of the time because we've been through so much in the past, but I'll have to deal with it.
Chloe saying this here.
I got emotional, and I hate that I did, because I probably seemed like a crybaby.
But do you see that there? A crybaby? There's no such thing, honey. That's emotion. Before, save your tears for your pillow, you're a crybaby, but not here, not anymore.
See, like, I literally can't stand watching this, looking at Jill being like, no, baby, like, not anymore. We've got this all under control. Like, before we made you bow down to this narcissistic sociopath and do everything she said and let her abuse you. But not anymore. We have a new coach that's gonna make us famous on a different show now. And I know that this opinion may come off as super harsh, but like, Jill, you fed your own child to the wolf.
Not anymore.
I feel guilty that we didn't do anything about it. Like, I see what it's doing to you guys now that you've grown. Like, it's still there.
And like, Kira, are you blind? Deaf? Like, I'm not really sure. The rest of us have seen what it's been doing to the children since day one. We saw the effects immediately. Why did you have to be there for several years? Like, this is such horseshit. Like, you knew exactly the effect that this had on your children since the beginning. Chloe says here, all of these effects.
When I think about everything that happened, all I can remember is how she used to make me feel, and I fought for so long, for 4 years, and I'm just like tired of having to prove myself and proving to Abby that I'm more than that. Like I want her to go away.
Every single child on that team experienced the same things to some degree. Christy actually left the show finally and didn't come back until Abby was no longer in the picture. I cannot say the same for anybody else. I think that Holly was a lot more rational and calm and explaining to Jill, like, oh, this is what you're experiencing, because she actually stood up for her daughter. I believe that she protected her daughter in pretty much every single way that she possibly could. Jill, on the other hand, knew exactly what Kendall was going through. She knew that she was basically being a number 2 comparison girl, like a backup girl, and that's going to be her entire experience, her entire story, her entire brand on this show for 7 seasons. You seem to be okay with that the entire time, as long as the outcome meant that Kendall got some fame out of it. Like, you are not the victim here. Kendall is. Period.
This is a little drop in what your life is going to be. It's going to help mold who you are. But here's someone who sees your worth and will help you overcome any of those insecurities.
And I think that you see Kailani here, like, I wouldn't say necessarily rolling her eyes, but you can tell by her body language and the expression on her face that she's kind of like, okay, this is a joke. And I don't think that she's mocking the emotion of the other dancers and how they are feeling beaten down. I think she's literally experiencing the exact same thing as I am. Like, Kailani is a smart person. And I think even at 15 or however old she was here, she was probably aware enough to be like, these parents are a joke. Like, you put these kids through all of this. You had the chance and the choice to walk away at any moment, and you didn't. So I don't think that Kailani's body language and stuff in this scene has anything to do with the kids or the other dancers. I personally don't think that her body language and her facial expressions were a reflection of any of the dancers and the emotions that they were experiencing. I think it was more of a reflection of the moms and them painting themselves as the victims in this narrative, when in fact the only victims were the children.
You are good enough. Just you being you, that's good enough.
Now, that being said, I do think Cheryl had a lot of positive and constructive things that she said to the girls during her time there, even on like what we saw in the 90 minutes of television in which Cheryl was there. But I feel like this, for example.
I know that these girls have so much potential. I'm known to get the best out of whoever I'm teaching. And in order for me to improve their dance, they've got to let that wall down. You guys are all different in what you do. You guys are all individuals. Each and every one of you brings something so special to this team, and you have to realize that, and you have to know your strength. And I want you to really take what I'm saying and use it, because it's what you do in here that counts.
I thought that that was great advice, and I thought that it's great for her to kind of see them all as individuals and try and pull the best out of them. I thought it was weird that she says, Kendall has been trained to show no emotion and blah, 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 blah.
It's because she's been taught not to have any emotion.
And then in her YouTube video, she talks about how she shows zero emotion in any situation. So I was like, okay, it's a little hypocritical. But anyways, these were my bones that I had to pick with Cheryl's video. This was the first clip that I wanted to kind of react to.
Anyway, cut to Nia. Nia was like, she's a woman, I already had curves at a young age. Nia is basically, I think, fully developed. She has a beautiful, womanly body. And I think that one thing that all of these girls had in common, or most of them, especially the OG cast, and Nia has been there the longest, along with Chloe, but Nia kind of lost her love and passion for dance. And it was important for me to embrace the womanhood that she was bringing on. She's a different woman now. And so she needed to own up to it and not feel like she had to be self-conscious about her body.
Now, in the comments, this is what one of the commenters had to say about that. I feel like you should have talked more about Nia's dancing instead of her body. I hope you didn't belittle her. Overall, great video, and you're such a great teacher. And personally, I kind of agree. Nia was, 14 or 15 at the time of this filming? I understand this is a transitional period, and it's great for you, woman to woman, to be able to have a conversation with her about embracing herself, but it felt like she was a little more focused on her body than her dancing, which to me is a little odd. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. The next thing that I had an issue with was her calling Kailani sexy.
Kailani and Kira. Well, Kailani, She was my favorite as far as dancing goes. She is very talented, and she was like very sexy as a dancer. Her flexibility was out of control. Her the way that she just held herself in general, her balance, and her attention to detail, I really appreciated. And but her expression through dance, and this is where I relate to her, is just like
I understand that in Cheryl's world, she works with adults. She is a ballroom dancer. She is a professional dancer. And a lot of being a professional dancer on television is about marketing and selling sex appeal. That's just the fact. That's just how it is in the industry. It's misogynistic, and that's just how it's always been since like the 30s. Probably even before, but that's when they started really selling showgirl idea, and that girls had to be sexy and sensual to be professional dancers in certain situations. Now, I feel like it is highly, highly inappropriate for her to make those comments about Kailani and her dancing. And Kailani was like 15, I think, here. Maybe she was 16. Certainly not an adult. These are not appropriate comments to make about a child, about a teenager. And then let's talk about the choreography. So there was a giant uproar about the choreography, and people were saying that it was super inappropriate, and some people were saying that it's a musical theater number and that it was entirely appropriate for the girls to be learning that because they're going to be professional dancers. I do agree that it is appropriate for the girls to learn a musical theater piece that is reflective of an actual musical theater show, but you do not need to include any kind of provocative movement style, in my opinion, when you are dealing with 13 and 14 and 15-year-old dancers. That's just not appropriate, in my opinion, and I understand that you want to be preparing them for the real world, but learning how to dance and learning how to move is going to prepare you for the real world. You can go take a sexy street class or take a Broadway class when you're old enough to go experience that on your own. But I think to make the girls perform an entirely provocative number is not exactly the best parenting or coaching when your students are like 14 or 15. I personally would absolutely never, ever, ever choreograph a number like that and put it on stage if the dancers were that age. If it was a college age production, of course. If it's like some kind of professional senior troupe where they're like 18, 19, sure. 14, no. And furthermore, none of the dancers in those numbers in the shows are teens or children. They are adult women. Now, the next clip that I wanted to address is she was talking about Cameron and her kind of rolling her eyes and having a bad attitude and all of that.
So Cameron and Camille, so Cameron was the newest dancer out of the whole group, right? So you had definitely the OGs, and then you had Cameron that just basically walked into this drama, soap opera. The only thing that she needs to work on, and I'm sure she has, is her attitude. When she wasn't being given attention by me or by anybody else and someone else was getting praised, it was that like rolling of the eyes or just like giving you the cold shoulder.
And to me, it's just kind of an unwritten code that as a professional, when you're working with children, even if they're adults now, I'm not sure if Cameron is an adult yet, but it's kind of like an unwritten code that you can talk positively about them, share your constructive feedback and criticism with their parents or anybody else that is working on the professional team for the job in which you are working on. Maybe you need to make a note to their agent or a manager if it's something extremely serious and you feel the need to do that. But to talk about it in a YouTube video and to talk about like your private and personal conversations and stuff that you had with these children in a YouTube video is not that appropriate to me. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments. And then Cameron actually went to the comments section and wrote like an entire paragraph response. Thanks for the compliment, and I understand this was years ago, but since we're bringing it back up, I never had an attitude with you present. That was stress, which I thought I had explained, and that it was clear that I just wanted to do my best and was hard on myself. So please don't say I sat there and rolled my eyes when I wasn't getting attention. For one, I was never the favorite anywhere, so if anything, I was very used to not getting attention. And if I did roll my eyes, it was at myself and my mistakes, if anything. I don't want any more bad press coming from this show after already healing from it, so just wanted to get that straight. Never have been and never will be that type of person. Thank you. And I feel as if Cameron has every right to do that. What I don't understand is why Cheryl didn't seem to respond to any of the constructive criticism or people like Cameron that she knows and worked with and mentioned in the video when they commented on her video, yet she had the time to respond and like pretty much every other comment on the entire video, so we know she saw these comments. I just feel like Cameron is being more forthcoming in this situation and that she did have this conversation already in private with Cheryl and explained to her what was going on. And I personally didn't see Cameron as having an attitude. I saw exactly what Cameron said. I saw somebody that was extremely insecure and being really hard on themselves. And that's hard to do when you're in a dance class and you're not really super secure and confident with yourself yet, and you're just watching everybody around you get every single piece of choreography and pick up every step so easily, and they're doing it so well, and you can never pick it up and you can never do it. That is extremely frustrating. And yes, you're taking that out on yourself. It wasn't an attitude towards the rest of the people in the room or the coach. I never saw that. So I don't know. I thought that that was a little rude personally, but that's just me. So those were my only real criticisms for this video. She did overall have a lot of amazing things to say about the dancers.
Anyway, she was, for me, the most talented of all the dancers. I enjoyed watching her perform and practice, but her expression through dance, and this is where I relate to her, is just like she takes it all out in the dance. She won't show you the emotion if she's not moving. Her movement helps her feel her feelings. And Camille was the sweetest. Kendall and Jill, you know that like the yearbook and they like label you as like class clown? That's Kendall. I knew my purpose every single day I would go on set. It was like, okay, every day it was just like right in front of my face staring at me. You need to at least give these girls an amazing experience for their last few weeks on the show so they don't ever find dance to be a traumatic thing that they lived through, right? So, but with Kendall, it was like I literally could not get her to wrap around my little finger. And like I couldn't control the girl. She was the class clown. She made everybody laugh. It was like secrets, and it was all that little jokester. She's hysterical. She should be a stand-up comedian.
So overall, I enjoyed Cheryl's time on the show. I thought that she was overall a great coach for the girls during her time that she had with them. Those were just my few constructive criticisms that I had about her time as a coach on the show and the video that she just made. And overall, I just think that we have to keep in mind that Cheryl literally was thrown into like the middle of a giant fire, basically, like a shit show. Abby just left, and these girls have been used to like this one tyrant way of dancing and training for their entire time on this show, and then Cheryl was just kind of thrown into the mix. So I'm just going to leave this video with Cheryl's quote right here, because that's how I feel like she was coming from.
My frustration is coming from the fact that I feel like every single person on this team has given up. Moms, girls, get in.
But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below about Cheryl, about her time coaching on the show, her experience and the effect that she had on the girls, and maybe about my constructive criticisms that I had in this video as well. And let me know what you guys think about the moms and them always playing victim in this narrative. If you like this video, make sure to give it a great big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you are brand new here and you haven't yet. Be sure to tap the bell notification so that you get a reminder every single time that I post a new video, if you're interested in that. And you can follow me behind the scenes on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Jordan J. Sparks. And as always, make sure to be weird, be wild, and stay sparkly, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!